Hello and welcome to the third part of the shopping cart tutorial. In the previous part, we saw how to create the categories and the subcategories, and in today's part, we are going to get the products when we click on one of the item of our subcategory. So to do that, we are going to get inside our subcategory view, and we have already written a method that when we select on one of the item, we are going to get inside our item select. So let's go ahead and implement this method inside our subcategory controller, which is right here. And first we need to get the binding context. So we need to get the list first. So var list is equal to sap.ui.getCore by id, and this is going to be slist id, which is this. So now we have the list, and now we can get the item which is selected. So we can write selected item, s item is equal to list dot get selected item, and this is going to get us the object of the item that we are selecting, and from here we can get the binding context. So o binding context is equal to s item dot get binding context of our products model, and from here we are going to get the path, and the path will tell us which index did we select. If we are selecting this, it is going to be index 0, and if we select this, it's going to have index 1. So we can get the path by writing var sPath is equal to o binding context dot sPath, right? And now if we print sPath, we can refresh this page, and then when we click on one of the item, it gives us this path. And if you notice, this is the category index and this is the subcategory index, and if I click on this, it is going to give the subcategory index as 1, and we already have the category index on our URL, so we are just interested in knowing our subcategory index. So here we can write var start is equal to sPath dot last index of our slash, and we are going to add +1 because we want to exclude the slash. So now we can get the subcat index by writing var subcat index is equal to sPath dot substring. We pass our starting position and the end position, and this is going to get us the subcategory index. Let's print and check. So we refresh the page one more time, and when we click on this, we get the index as 0, and when we click on this, we get the index as 1. So these are the subcategory index, and now we are going to create a pattern, a routing pattern that will create the URL, and from that URL we can get into our products page. So we have already instantiated our router. We can just copy that, paste it over here, .nav2. We will get into a pattern whose name would be products. We will create the pattern in a while, and now we are going to pass two parameters. One is the category index, which we already have over here, and we are going to pass the subcat index, which we got from here, right? And now let's get into our component.js and create a subroutes. So because we are going to change only the details page, which is this, we are going to create it inside the subroutes of this particular pattern. So we can write subroutes. This is going to be an array. Here we can just copy this part and paste it over here, and now we are already inside this URL, which is this, but we also want to get into our subcat, and we'll pass that parameter, which is the subcat index, and we want to name the routing rule as products, because that's what we named it over here. And if it gets inside this pattern, then it is going to show us the products view, which will create, and this is going to be our detail pages, right? So now let's go ahead and create the products page, new other view, and this is going to be products, and we are going to name the title as collection. So now if we refresh this page and click on one of the item, it gets us the products page, and inside the products controller we want to get these values so that we can create a context and bind it with this view. So let's close all these pages, and we want to get inside our product controller, and this is very much similar to the subcategory controller. So we can go ahead and copy this part, and let's delete everything, right? So we have instantiated our router, and we are checking if the pattern matches, and in this case it is going to match our products pattern, because if we get inside our component.js, the name of the pattern is products. So we are going to paste products over here, and we are getting the category index. We also need the subcategory index, so I'm going to write subcat index is equal to event get parameter arguments dot subcat index, and now we are going to create the context over here. Now this is the important part. So how do we create the context? uh, let's get inside this particular JSON data, and we want to display all the products. So we are already inside collection, and then we are getting inside the index. So we are inside collection. This is the index that we are passing, and then we are going to pass items slash subcat. So we are going to write items slash subcat, and after this we are going to pass the subcategory index, because if you notice there are two different subcategories over here, but we are interested in getting the products of this particular subcategory, so we get all the products right here. So this index we are already getting over here, so we can write plus this dot subcat index, and then we are going to bind it with the products view. And now let's get inside our products view and create a table. So we're going to write var o table is equal to new sap.m.table. We're going to give an ID to this table. It is going to be products table. You can give the ID over there, or you can also give the ID over here. So that's all the same. And we're going to set inset as true. This is just going to add some padding. After inset, we're going to give the column names. So we are going to have 4 different columns, and the first column will be the image. So we can write new sap.m.column, and this is going to accept an object, and the first parameter is going to be h align. So horizontal align will make it as left. You can do hidden trial and put it center, and you can also put it right. And then we're going to set the width of this column as 100 px, and then we're going to say demand pop-in, and this is going to be true. Now what demand pop-in does, when you're viewing this application inside a laptop or a desktop, the width is considerably high. So in that case, it is anyways going to display the entire table. But when you display this page inside a mobile view, the width is very limited, and in such cases it might hide few of the columns. So here we have 4 columns, and all those columns are important. So demand pop-in will allow them to display those columns, but in different sections, in different positions. So that way the UI becomes really responsive, and we are going to have the pop-in display as block. And finally, we are going to give at what screen position or at what screen size will this pop-in display work. So in this case, minimum screen width, we are going to put it as SAP.m dot screen size dot medium. You can play around with the sizes, and to know what all sizes are available, you can just paste this particular uh, thing over here, and you see these are the sizes that are available. So we have set it as medium, but you can do some hidden trial with all these values and see how it reacts. So this is the first column. We are going to copy this and paste it 4 times. Our second column is going to contain the text and the description. So we will delete the width, and we want the framework to apply the width automatically. And here we are going to give the price. So we need the width of 100px, and then we are going to have a button over here which will be add to cart button. So this is going to be the image, and this is going to be the title or description, and this column is for the price, and this column is for our button, right? And you can also give a header over here, for example header, and you can write new sap.m.label, and you can give a label, but we are not going to display those headers, so I've just ignored them. So after we are done with the structure of the table, we need to create a template for this, and our template will actually contain the values. So let's create var o template is equal to new sap.m.column list item, and this is going to accept an object whose type is going to be sap.m.listType.active. And what this means, when we create the table will contain different rows, and we want those rows to be clickable. So this makes those rows clickable, so that when we click on that particular row, we should get inside that particular product. So we'll have a product info page that will be displayed, and after this we are going to have cells, and we are going to give 4 cells. So the first cell is going to be our image, so we can write new sap.m.image, and this is going to accept src. And now, because we are already binding the context with the view, we can directly get the products, which is all these products. So first we are going to bind the image src with this. So we can go ahead and get into our products model, and we're looking for image and src, and we're going to display a height of 100px, right? And the next is going to be our title and description. So we can write that by specifying new sap.m.text, and this is going to accept text, and we are going to get the text from products, and we are going to have the name displayed over here. And in the next line we are going to have the description as well. So we can copy this and paste it over here, and no, we'll give the title because description is too much long, so we can give title. And this is going to be a complex binding, so we need to set the complex binding inside our index.html, which we'll do it in a while. And after this we are going to have the price, so we can write new sap.m.text, and this is going to have the text, and we are going to get the price from here, and we can write INR. We are just going to hard code our currency because our product.json doesn't have a currency over here. And after the text, we are going to add a button, sap.m.button. This is going to accept an object, and we want the text to be add to cart. And next, we want to have a click handler, so we can write press. Is going to be a function. We'll pass the event. Now there will be two different buttons for add to cart, one which will display here and the other one inside the product info page, and we want the implementation to be common between both of them. So for that reason, we'll write the implementation inside our common.js. So we are going to call the common.js by specifying sap.demo.cart.add to cart, and we have included this particular file inside our index.html. So if you want to view that, here we are including that. So we want to get inside this particular file. We missed common over here, dot add to cart, and this is going to be a function, and we are going to pass the event, and we are going to pass the instance of the view as well. So let's create this method inside our common.js. And we're going to write add to cart called. We'll do the implementation later on. And yeah, so our button is ready, and now we are going to bind the items of this table uh, with this template. So we are going to use bind aggregation, and we can do that by writing otable dot bind aggregation. We want to bind our items with our products model, and this is going to be product. And if you notice over here, we are binding this product so that we can get all the items directly. So product, and then we are going to pass our O template to this, right? And after this, we are going to pass our table inside the content. And if you notice, this is going to be a complex binding, so we are going to write the complex binding over here. So we can write data SAPUI XX binding syntax, and this is going to be complex. And now let's go ahead and run our application. So we click on men, we click on winter wear, and we get all the products over here. And if we click on summer wear, we get all the products over here. And we want this particular items to be clickable, so we are going to attach a press to this. So we can get inside our products view, and for template, we already have made the elements active. So here we are going to write for template dot attach press, and we're going to have a function alert1. So now if I refresh this and click on one of the item, it gets us alert1. And you might have noticed that the subcategory elements which were here, they vanished. That's because if you get into our subcategory controller, you see that the subcategory will execute only if the parameter name is category, and if it is not category, it is just going to return it. So in this case, either we can add the event get parameter name if it is products, then also it should execute, but we can go ahead and comment this out. And now if we refresh this page, we get our subcategories over here. And also we notice that when we refresh the page, our radio button doesn't get selected. So to do that, we can do it over a subcategory controller, and here first we need to get this item, which is the list object, and we also need the subcat index. So we can write var subcat index is equal to event dot get parameter arguments dot subcat index, and now we know which index we need to select, and after that we can give list dot set selected item. So inside this set selected item, we need to pass the item that we want to select. So how do we get the item that we are selecting? So first we need to get all var selected item is going to be list dot get items. So list dot get items is going to give us all the items, and from there we want to select this particular item, right? So if you're getting confused, let's do it inside a console. So our list is going to get us the list object, and now if I type list dot get items, it is going to give us all the items, which is this and this. And after this we are going to pass our the index that we want to select. So in this case it is going to be 0. When we pass 0, it is giving me exactly this particular item, which is this, and that's what we are going to pass over here, right? And before that we are going to check if our subcat index is not is equal to undefined. So if this is not equal to undefined, then we are going to execute these two lines, and sometimes this might still not work, because if you get inside our component.js, you will notice that we're setting this model by sending a request to this URL and receiving a response. So sometimes there can be a delay in getting the response. So we are going to set a timeout over here. So we can write set timeout. There's going to be a function, and this function will execute after 10 milliseconds. A safe time would be 100 milliseconds. So now let's go ahead and refresh this page, and we see that is selected. And if we select this and refresh our page, that item gets selected. So that's all about today's part, and in the next demo we will create the product info page, and we'll create the cart page as well, and we'll see how to proceed. So stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you.